Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Musings and Music Show. It's going to be a fun one. I know the last few shows, it was first it was cervical cancer, then we talked about fibroids. Today it's on the much lighter side, and it's kind of connected too because the topic we're going to talk about can help. You're going to see, you're going to find out, can help with alleviating some of that stress, some of that pain, that kind of thing. So I have a very, very thrilling guest with me here today. It's been ages since I actually got to chat with her, ages since I saw her live, but I'm so happy to have her here with me. So if she doesn't mind, she's going to go ahead and introduce herself to our audience, the listening audience, the viewing audience. Who do they have in front of them today?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
All right, so go ahead then and introduce yourself to the listening or viewing audience.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Julie Jingwa Jackson. I now go by the name of Julie Jackson. I'm a Cameroonian who lives in the United Kingdom, actually in Wales, in a little town called, or a big city called Swansea, but in a little village. I've been here for the past 7 to 8 years, and I work here as an artist. I provide art services to children in the community. And just recently, I took my mum back to Cameroon, and while I was there, I provided some art services in Cameroon. Now, I feel very strongly that it's about time that Cameroon has exposure, or the children and the youth of Cameroon has exposure to art and art services. Art is a very, there's very many facets to how art can be of benefit to many people. It can provide a form of therapy, it can provide a means of distraction, a means of entertainment. There's so many aspects to art. So I think it's high time that Cameroon realized its many benefits and how it can help not just children, but just the society as a whole.
Yep, I'm not surprised that you mentioned that and said it that way because how I know you is because at some point back in the late 70s or thereabouts, you came to Seka Baptist College. You were there for a little while. So you know how it works there. You're Cameroonian, even though you may have lived most of your life out of the country, but you know how it works. We tend to look at art as something not to bother with. It's just play, child's play. Maybe a child can, draw a little stick figures, just doodle a little bit. Nobody wants to take it seriously. And if anybody said they wanted to do art, back in our day when it was all good, be a lawyer, good be a doctor, good be so and so thing, your parents would be so upset and say, my child is not wanting to do something serious. We were all about doing the serious thing. So I'm not surprised that you mentioned that, and I'm glad you did, because I was going to say so. And talk about what was the reaction of people when you went now to Cameroon to talk about this? Were they open to it, or what was the reaction?
Do you mean many years ago, or when I just went a few?
No, many years ago. I know how that kind of was. People did not want to talk about, did not take art seriously, or did not even consider it, like you were saying, as something to do. And if they did, it was somebody who did it as their profession, as their job. They drew things, and you could buy a painting and stuff, but you don't seem to be taking it into quite that dimension of necessarily making it somebody's livelihood.
Good. Yeah.
Right. So I was just wondering and asking, now that you've been to Cameroon and you're taking this idea there, how were you received? How was it received? Were people eager and to did they embrace it, or did they still have the mentality where it's not the thing to do?
I perceive the difference compared to when I was not just only a child, but also in my early 20s. Back then, I would be laughed at or dismissed in a very polite way. But this time when I went, people were a lot more open, and they also recognized the need for art and art therapy, especially for children. And I think that's a reflection of the times that we live in, not just in Cameroon, regarding the conflict, which is unfortunately has happened in Northwest and Southwest provinces, but also in the world in general. And you know, when you mentioned Ukraine at the beginning of this phone conversation, I think everything is interrelated. It's all interrelated. So I think that the news is always hammering upon us. And because of the reality of the news just in our back door and everything, I think we are aware.
Right.
The need.
Because in our early days, earlier, we did, you know, at the time when we were there in Sika, there was no television, there was no TV yet.
Oh, no.
Now there's TV and there's WhatsApp and there's all kinds of things, YouTube. You go there and you find the content that's there, sometimes depressing. So everything comes at you with development has come the downside too, where there can be bullying happening to your child. There can be other traumatic issues that are going on. And as the world has closed in and we've narrowed, so have the things that can cause a child or anybody, grown up or adult or child, to need that therapy you're talking about. And I know that the way we think about therapy, and you think first go see a shrink, you know, something official. Already we're not even so much into that. Sometimes we don't even acknowledge that we actually have those issues. We are supposed to be strong and we're supposed to be just soldiering on. And people don't really want to admit the need for therapy. Then when it comes to, even if you admitted that you actually had some issues or needed therapy, now you look for now the doctor, the medical thing, and you may not necessarily think about art or music, that kind of a thing. So I'm glad to hear that when you went now, people received it much more openly. So, but you did not start there, right? This is something you've been doing in the UK already.
Yeah. It's something that I've been doing, and it's something that I've embraced. But previous to that, when I was living in the United States, I was working, working as an art consultant and doing extracurriculum work. And as well as that, I partnered that up as a behavior therapist. I was in Washington, DC, and then I was in California. And while I was in both those places, I actually made it my own form. So basically, I used my behavior therapy, and then I partnered that up with my art experience and talents. And I would use that to work with the children who were in my care. And I used art as an incentive to reward them for good behavior or for positive behavior. So it wasn't like traditional, a traditional attitude towards children to get them to behave themselves. It was seeing how they would explore art and see how they would sit down with a pencil and a piece of paper, and I'd see the therapeutic effect it would have on them as they'd sit down and just wind down as they would draw. So I would watch that, and over the years, I would use that. I guess it was just a subconscious thing. Seeing the joy that would give me when these children would work, whether I was working as a behavior therapist or as an art consultant in the extracurriculum program, like for example, during summer camp, I would just see how it wasn't just a case of doing art, it was also using music as well. So I would see how all this had a wonderful liberating effect on these children and even on young people, like young teenagers. So it's all
I learned to see that there's some students who they even tell us, look, they are going to have to, they actually need the paper and a pencil to actually just doodle as they listen, that it even helps them focus more. Because I used to see this, I'm sitting around there, oh, you're not paying attention. Oh, you're off topic, you're not doing, and then they explain to me that sometimes that even helps them focus. There's that aspect of it too. And then there's the idea, like you say, because most of the time when people talk about drawing it from my point of view, it would be, or art, it means you need to have the skills. You should be an artist, you know, to draw perfection. So some of us that only do the little stick things, like don't even mention it. You say drawing and I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. Because I'm thinking I'm supposed to draw something that is Da Vinci like, something that is, yes. No, not at all. You see, that's what I want people to understand, because people may hear about art and think, okay, then I need to be a professional. I need to have a big old easel. I need to, you know, get the sophisticated paint brushes and things. That's not what you're talking about, right? Not that necessarily that level.
Yeah, and also bear in mind that there's a lot of you know, these you know what's very popular or has been popular for the past few years, these coloring books for adults. They're very popular because they are therapeutic, and adults find that it helps them to de-stress. So that's one indication that people need to find some sort of outlet.
Why am I nodding and smiling? My daughter, she's doing her MBA, that is a master's program. She got one of these things that they call by numbers. There's little numbers in the thing. So you use this color for this little circles right here, this other color for something else. And then that's how, and you see how she forgets the time. Oh my goodness, I hadn't even thought about break. She's engrossed in the whole thing. Let me let somebody in. I think we have somebody.
Let me just, do I let them in?
I just did.
Oh,
I just did. I saw somebody was reading this. I just said, come on in. Yes. Okay, I think they're muted for the time. Oh, that should be Franka. I said the last name.
Yes.
I think she's trying to. Franka, you're welcome to join us. You can go ahead and unmute and get your video going if you want to. I don't know if she can hear us, but we can just continue going for the time being. Okay, now I see she's
Franka will join in a moment. This is our husband. I'm very glad to meet you here on the call.
All right, awesome. And I see somebody else. I'm going to just let them in too. Let's see.
Ooh.
Valentina, and then
Let's just
right. Come on in, join us. We were already chattering away. Yes. So where were we? I think I was talking about well, I was asking you how well received, and you're saying that the mind, there's been a mind shift, and people were much more receptive to this. And then I asked you how you started off. But if you had to compare the two, is it the same warmth, the same eagerness where you were in the United States, in the UK, and now in Cameroon, where you went just a few weeks ago?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. And, you know, again, the angle that I was coming at in America was there's a need, and you're based in the States, for extracurricular activities. I worked in the after school, I worked in the summer camp, and those children need something. So it's like a given. It's like, it's self-explanatory. It's just, you know, there's no reason to even justify why you need to have that. It's just very necessary, and people take it like that. Now in the United Kingdom, there's not such a, it's not so rampant, and I wish it was. That's why I set up light streams, so that there could be the extracurriculum, so that there could be art services within the community, so that there could be like summer activities for children.
There you go.
And it's not really there. And I'll say one thing, with the recent pandemic of the last 2 years, children here have been traumatized, not being having the access to have natural fresh air or sunlight, having to be closed in. I work with a school here, and the children have had to deal with just the effects of not being allowed to go out as children should be.
Yes.
So they've been shut in. So they've dealt with traumas in their own way. So, and now in Cameroon, as you know, children have been suffering from the conflict. Children in those areas have been suffering.
Right. Many of them are actually displaced. They're not even home anymore where they were born and raised. They've had to go to somewhere strange, somewhere different, get into a new school. You have to, the friends that you've had all your life, you have to go make new friends someplace else. And there's all that uncertainty. So that can be traumatizing. And so what we're trying to let them know is that this art can be a way that you you actually get, you express yourself and actually decompress, distress. That's a good thing. And I picked up on the fact that you mentioned summer programs, because I know what might be a parent's problem might be, okay, the kid has all of this homework, during the school year. They are all busy. When I don't know about having them go do another extracurricular activity. So I'm glad you also have those programs, not only during the school year, but you have them as summer programs during when they have vacation, when they can go in depth into the things which they can learn a little better and then carry it through with them throughout the year. But at least they have gotten the concepts.
Yes, sorry to cut you short. That's typically the case in the United States from my own experience. In the United Kingdom, they do have it, but like where I live, it's not so common and not so rampant. And it's like pockets of the United Kingdom. And we're looking at a situation where during the holidays, what do the children do? They become very restless, they become very bored. So there needs to be more structure.
Right.
And
you don't want them idle, because that's the thing. You don't want them idle because now they're not in school, then they're out there. And if you don't feed them, sorry to use the term, if you don't feed them with healthy things to do, then chances are that they're going to find something that is not so healthy, that's not so beneficial to them to do. Whereas if we put programs like yours at their disposal, they're likely to go ahead and get involved and not necessarily go astray, as we would say. I really do want us to see, I want to pull up a few pictures that I got from you, so you can actually walk us through them. Let me see if I can share my screen here, and you can tell us what is going on in them. I will have to do this for a minute. Let me get off here first. Let's see, pull up here. Now I can come back and share, and you can tell us what's going on in some of the pictures that we have here. Can you see what I'm sharing right there?
Yes, I can.
So
and
yes.
Can I thank you for the way you've placed it in chronological order?
I tried to, based on what you told me and how it kind of went when we had a chat. I'm saying this must have happened before. Then this is the Cameroon part of it, which is the DOUALA part of it, and then Seika and the rest of it. But let's just go through, and I'm just going to make them a little bigger. There you are.
Yes.
So now, where is this?
Good question. Now, this is back in Swansea, or to be more specific, in my little village in Swansea called, the village is called Wanarloedd. And Wanarloedd means in Welsh, the Lord's Meadow. So for me, that's very symbolic. There's a lovely little Welsh school called Login Far, and in this little tiny school, it's Welsh speaking, and I don't know how it even happened. I came back from Austria over Christmas, and I just felt, you know what, time to get the work going in terms of artwork for the community. Right. So I happened to call them up one day, and I said that I'm a local artist. I'd like to bring art to the community, and they said yes, fine. So this was my first day, and I was going to do an etching drawing session whereby instead of doing regular paper drawing, you're drawing reverse. You're drawing with a sharp instrument to scratch underneath.
Let me go to the next picture, so maybe we can see a little bit of what is this. Is this what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
So I broke it down, and I interviewed, and the children interviewed me and asked me questions about my background, what motivated me to do art. So I would show them what they needed to do to get the project up and running. So what we did, I was supposed to have, the idea was to have like 10 children, a ratio of 1 to 10, one teacher being me, against 10 students, but we had more than 10. First group was over 20, maybe 21 with a teacher. And so from 9:30 till the end of the school day, I worked with children 1 hour at a time. Wow.
What is the age range?
Good question. They ranged from 6 to 11.
Right. Look at them there. I can see the little hands. They're very busy doing the. So this is the etching you're talking about.
Yes, and we used the toothpick to do the scratching, and I had to give them instructions like to be careful not to put the toothpick near your mouth. And I did that when I went to Cameroon as well. So it was just the same basic instructions and guidelines that they had to follow.
Which just tells you, which just reminds you about before you get older and into certain, how would I call it? Before you are taught certain ways of behavior in a society, you really just are like this when you see children. Whatever you told them to do, they did. Whatever you went to Cameroon and said to do, they did.
Yes, and I've got, so please continue. Please.
No, go, please go right ahead.
So it was really good, and I found that all the children listened. The children in Wales, the children in Yaoundé, the children in Limbe, they all followed the instructions. And even though in Wales, in Swansea, there was one teacher who would come and sit with them, even the teachers sat down and did their own artwork. And at one point, the teacher had to leave the room, so I was left alone with the children, but they still followed instructions, because the thing about art is that you focus.
Right.
Give a child artwork, for some reason, they just focus. It's not about being rowdy, because they're just engrossed in the work.
Right, look at this one. You know, it's now, this is actually, they wrote mom right here. I hadn't noticed that they was any writing on the thing. I had just put that, I said, oh, look, they just have some picture of a lady there. Now it's only just now I'm looking at it and realizing that this is mom that they wrote right there.
And mom's inside the heart.
Oh yes, right around there. Oh, you see that they were expressing themselves right there. You give them the chance and they go ahead and do things. Because I was going to ask you, that was the next thing I was going to ask you. Let's see here. This is just some more art. I was going to ask you. Okay, so we can pause here a little bit before we come back to this. I was going to ask you whether you saw a difference in the subjects that they painted, the artwork. Was it the same kind of thing, like is it universal, or did you tend to see a certain kind of art in when you were here in the States, a certain kind of art that they were gravitating towards in Swansea, or a different kind of art in Cameroon, or like the subjects, what they would choose to draw? Is everybody drawing their mom? Everybody drawing flowers? Everybody drawing streets?
That's a really good question. And I think it also depends on the age group, because in the United States, for example, when I worked with teenagers, we did a book club. So it was about, not a book club, it was like a cartoon club where they had to make their own comic. And the subject was bullying. So that was the subject matter. So it was a lot more planned and constructed. Whereas when I was working during the day, and that was a summer project, whereas if I worked with the children on a daily basis, then they would just draw little flowers or little girls, or I would do, and little, or the boys would draw things like dinosaurs. And I worked with mostly 6 to 7 year olds. So it was the subject matter. Now, in the United Kingdom, you see what they drew. You see what they drew, and again, it's based on the age group. And a lot of the boys wanted to draw the rugby pitch, because Wales is a land of rugby. Yes. Or
so of course, your reality will be different. You don't expect somebody in Cameroon to be drawing rugby. They have no clue what it's supposed to be. They may have seen the thing on TV once or twice, but it's not part of their reality. So what you're saying is generally people would draw what is real to them, what is their world. Is what they expect. This person who's drawing their mom and in her heart just loves their mom. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Sorry, please continue.
No. I was just saying that it's amazing to see how sometimes when it comes to that part of things, somebody's mom, that's universal. Then when it comes to interests, then those would vary depending on what your life is like, what you're exposed to.
That's a really good observation. I was going to say that in Cameroon, when I went to AFROGIVENESS, which is run by Miss FRANKA AKINBOBOYE,
right,
and she's on this call at the moment, she her children ranged in different age groups as well. One thing I noticed is that the younger girls just drew things with rainbows and flowers. The boys, there was one particular picture that really struck me. It looked like a real architectural mindset behind it.
I'm going to try to pull that, go back, because that photo album, I don't know if it's one of that part of that collection.
I think it is.
So this is Franka that you just mentioned, who actually has the center that you went to, and this is
the founder.
She's the founder. Okay. Awesome. And then this is Douala then. Oh no, Yaoundé.
Yaoundé, yes.
Okay. And then let me see. So this is the group you say that you worked with.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. There's the range from the little tiny tots right here with older children over there as well.
Yes.
And let me see if I can find that I don't know. Okay. So is this still the same center?
Yes.
Okay.
AFROGIVENESS.
Where they started and they were drawing. I see, are these hijabs I see back here?
Yes.
Okay, so you have it with a multicultural kind of setting too, not just different age ranges, but different cultural backgrounds.
Yes, that's correct.
Back here. And I'm saying that and also making a mental note in my head about how clusters, they still talk about how when you go to, I teach in a high school, huge population, yet you go into a cafeteria and there's what you call different kinds of segregation.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I'm noticing that there's a bunch right there and a different group right there. That's just an observation that I just made upon looking at it. And then there you are.
Yes.
Trying to show what is going on here, if you can just tell us what's going on here.
I tend to do that a lot. When you're doing etching, first of all, you color the first sheet of paper. You're doing everything on one sheet of paper. So the first stage, you're going to color the entire paper. Completely fill out your entire. I wish I can demonstrate.
But I can kind of see what hers looks like here. Let me see if you're going to demonstrate that I can stop the share so people can see what you are showing up then. So you can let me stop the share for now. So the people can now see what it is that you're showing. You're actually going to demonstrate.
Yes, just give me for a moment. I'll just get the papers right now.
Okay, go right ahead. Let's see. Yeah, but even I could kind of see.
So,
I could actually kind of tell what you're saying, because that little girl we saw there actually had the whole of her paper all one color, kind of.
Right, so you start off first of all with crayons.
Okay.
And then you have to cover the entire sheet of paper with the crayons. You can do it any way you want, and the children have the freedom to express themselves. It can be circular. When I was in Wales, the children said, okay, I'll do triangles, and they were a lot more vocal in their choices. I noticed in Cameroon, they were, because they don't have that much such exposure to creative expression, I had to encourage them to push themselves to do different kinds of shapes, and sometimes they would just do it quietly without telling me vocally, I'm going to do a square, I'm going to do triangles.
But you see, that is a reality that is not only attached to art, attached to anything. We're just less vocal. You see, in my day and time, what did you say to the teacher? Nothing except to answer a question.
Yes.
The teacher came in and they thought, yes, you said, yes, sir, yes, madam, yes, yes. This, yes, that. If you ever asked the question, it was really tied to the curriculum itself. But to just be more expressive, because I, as a teacher, came over here and was, I had my own cultural shock. So that I was not used to being asked questions and talked to that much. I was used to teaching, preaching kind of style. You have your knowledge and you're coming to dish it out. I'm not used to people interacting, and it's a more relaxed setting. So I'm not surprised that you had that experience of them not sitting there and you just tell me what to do, I'll go ahead and do it. And then you say do, and they're like, okay, what do I do? They're not thinking to say, okay, why not this, why not that? And when they did, they didn't say anything, they just did. They just executed, if I could call it that way.
They executed, and they did beautiful work in Limbe and in Yaoundé.
And that's even how we got to all of this, because one day I got a message from you. You were saying, oh, you're heading to Cameroon. And how about going to SECA, which is our alma mater, going to SECA to talk about the program there. And you're asking about whether you could contact the principal and everything. And I said, well, here's his number, get in contact with him. And next thing I know, bam, there you are. So I'm going to go and pull the pictures.
I have to thank you for that. If it wasn't for you, it wouldn't have happened.
No, that's the very least I could do, because I was excited. If I had been in SECA at the time, I'd have loved to see somebody come in like that, other than the person who's coming to check for various vaccinations and things like that. Something fun that is different from what you normally expect. You know, in the curriculum that there were no art classes as such. We had typing, we had cookery, we had needlework, we had then we had the subjects: physics, chemistry, math, English, geography. It wasn't as if you had art class. So that would have been something that would have been interesting to see. And I'm glad the principal bought the idea and had you going in there. And that's the part I'm dying to get to, because it's just familiar. I'm like, oh, I know this place. So this is Yaoundé still. Bam! Yeah. Here we are now at Second Baptist College. Who doesn't remember this dining hall? It has some not so pleasant memories and some pleasant ones too.
The blue tables.
Right, those tables right there, and then the stage right there, and that would be the kitchen back there, right?
Yes.
Where Mr. Ojoga and Mr. Francis used to be. This is where, nobody who looks at this building who has been in Sika would fail to recognize that as the dining hall with those arches right there. So how did they decide on who should come, who gets to? First of all, was it during a school day?
I thought it would be during the school day, because when I called the principal and explained, I gave him the 5-minute spiel. He said that doing it during the daytime would be an issue, because the girls have classes.
Right.
So it would have to be after. So it was agreed that 3:30 would be the best time to do this. So basically, in hindsight, this was an extracurriculum activity.
Correct. So this is the time when they would have had lunch already, maybe after siesta, between that siesta time and prep, like we know how it used to be. Then they come and sit down here and they have the chance. So what group is this? Is it Form 3? Is it which dormitory that they chose? What group is this?
Let me explain what happened there, because I eventually arranged everything with the vice principal.
Okay.
And Mrs. McKenna.
Okay.
Yes, and she had said that, and what we'll do, we'll have the first years. And I said, I think it'd be better if we have all years, because all girls stand to benefit. The first years are like sponges, it's true, but I think even the sixth formers need this. So she got all of them.
Oh, wow.
And even the senior prefect, sorry to cut you short, even the senior prefect participated. She's a bit of an artist herself.
Awesome. Let's see. Oh, look at that.
This is in Limbe. Sorry, this is in Yaoundé. This is the boy who's very architectural.
That's the one you're describing?
Yes, very architectural.
Very much so. Look at those lines and everything.
Yeah.
So was he aware he had this talent already? Is he somebody who's been doing art before, or did this come as like, oh wow, did he surprise himself, or it's something that he already has been doing and knows that he has this talent?
I never asked. I only had one day workshop session with them, and there were a number of children. Miss Franka at the time had said that there would be 15 children, but they ended up being more than 15. And
right, so the one-on-one, it was not easy to do the one-on-one with a bigger group. No,
so I never really got to ask him. But as she's on this call, if there's time, maybe you can ask her.
If they're on there, I would like them to go ahead and unmute anytime. I think earlier on we had a husband who said she was going to join us later on, but if she's listening to us, she's free to unmute and cut her video on and join us anytime. And even if she's not ready now, when she is, we can go back to these pictures. So
hello.
There you are. Let me stop the share for a second so we can come see. Are you there? Is that Miss Franka?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes, yes, it's me.
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for talking about what we are doing. Thank you so much, Ms. Julie Jackson. I feel so honored that our work has gone that far, and I'm very grateful to the creator for the fact that it has gone that far. I didn't see it going this far, you know, and so I just want to stop to say a very, very big thank you, very, very big thank you. And also, I didn't get the question. I didn't get the exact question that you asked.
We had a picture. Were you able to see the screen that we were sharing? Were you able to see?
Yes, I saw the screen.
All right, we're talking about the young. The last picture we showed was the young guy that is in your. First of all, instead of just going on even directly with this, maybe we should ask you to give us just a brief. What is your foundation about? What is it? What is it?
The AFROGIVENESS Center.
Right.
Yes, yes. AFROGIVENESS, it's coming from two words, Africa and forgiveness. And its aim is to help mentally traumatized survivors of conflict to heal through forgiveness and to release through art. And we use art because art is a universal language that everybody understands. And we use art to unite opposite camps of conflict, to realize that peace is necessary for all, irrespective of background. And so forgiveness I also started because of my name Mai. My name Mai means forgive. And so it's a project that's very dear.
In what language, just in case somebody doesn't know, in what language?
In Itangikom. My language is Itangikom, it means forgive. And so that's how come I came with the name AFROGIVENESS, because also we strongly believe that forgiveness is key to peace, and that many international conferences and all this money we spend in peace building may not yield the necessary results if we do not inculcate in youth the values that build peace, such as forgiveness. And we focus on children and youth because that's how we build a generation. We're focusing on the younger people.
Correct.
Yes, and so we take people of different arts, different talents. You know, we realize that we work with 1,500 of them, and all the 1,500 of them have a talent. Yes. Some of them are talented in art and drawing. Others are talented in music and dance. We even have a choir. Others are talented in drama and comedy. Acted a few sketches and movies and stuff. And others are talented in poetry and storytelling. We even produced a short storytelling collection. And so we bring them together, and sometimes we're surprised at what they express. I myself, some of them, I'm surprised at what they express through art. And when we started AFROGIVENESS, we didn't think that we are going to have talented people amongst us. We just wanted people who have experienced the trauma of war to come and release.
Right.
But before we realized, we started getting some very talented people. Like the guy with.
Right. Are you able to, when you find that kind of talented person, are you able to let them go further? Are there schools that they can go to hone their talent? Are there other avenues beyond your center there where they can go, or how does it work? Like if they're good with art, drama, dance, and all that kind of thing, is there a next stage where they can go and develop that talent, or how does it work?
Yeah, the truth is we are still a small organization, so we cannot fund scholarships, opportunities, and all the like. So that's why we're very grateful when Ms. Julie Jackson came, because I don't know if you got to see some testimonials. There was one girl there, she's a songwriter. She told us that before she used to see herself only in Cameroon, but now she can see herself in Wales. She can see herself abroad. And this child lost her father and she lost her mother during the conflict, during the Anglophone conflict. And so she thought her life was going to be like over. But with that exchange, she said, I can now dream big. Why should I limit myself only in Cameroon?
There you
So
go.
me, I believe in the power of thought forms, and I
Mhm.
believe in the power of hope. So and I told her later on that as you've expressed it like that, you know, there's power in what you say. Who knows what can come of it?
True.
Like I was also telling them when we started our forgiveness, I never imagined that I'll be talking here. I never just I didn't just
I'm
imagine
listening
it.
to you speak, and I'm definitely intending to do a whole show on you and what it is that you're doing out there. And
Thank you so much. Thank you
and
so much.
and
The dots just seemed to connect in ways that I never imagined.
yeah.
And
So you have
I'm
to
so
practice what
grateful.
you're telling them. You have to practice what you're preaching to them, that they should hope
Yes,
and they should believe, and that
yes,
things can go, because you never know who's listening, you never know who's watching. That's what I was asking you about. What happens now from this stage where they have these little talents? What happens after this? And you never know where you can find scholarships and sponsorships. And next thing you know, I believe it gives people opportunities like exactly what Julie is doing, getting up from her comfort zone there and going to other places and sparking, that's what they call igniting something in the child's mind that maybe was not
yes,
there before, or that was there and just needed the flames, somebody to come and fan the flames and say, okay, then maybe I can do this. Sometimes that's all it takes in a child. They have it in them. Sometimes they're not aware they do. Somebody comes and says, hey, look, you have it in you. Others have it in them, they can sense it, but they're like, what's the point? Where am I going to go to with this? And then people like Julie come along, people like you come along, and that is what it takes. You're the catalyst, you're the little person who gets the fire glowing. And next thing you know, they've blossomed into something they never would have if it had not been for you all. So I'm quite thrilled to hear that. And can only wish you the best and say more power to you, Julie, and to people like you, Franka, who are sitting down there and not just igniting hope, inspiring these children to dream. There is nothing as sad as seeing a young child that has no hope, that has no dreams. What is the point? So I'm actually really glad to hear that. We're glad to have had you on here. And so trust me, I'll be contacting you so that you can come and talk a little bit more about what it is that you do out there. For now, let me go ahead and ask.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. I was going to ask, go on, please, Julie.
I just want to say one thing. When I went to the AFROGIVENESS Center, I forgot that they just seemed like regular children to me. I didn't even, when she first told me about some of the trauma that at least one of the children had gone through, I was kind of dreading wanting to know their background stories because they would have upset me. But when I went there, I completely forgot that these children had gone through things. I just saw an environment where they were very happy and just like regular children. And that's the beauty. And one thing I just want to go back to when I was in Washington, DC, and I worked in the after school, and we were working with children from minority backgrounds, and some of the children would have their backgrounds, there could be things going on in their lives that we were not aware of. But once they were in that community, in that environment, they were happy. So they come to a place where it's a pool of happiness and they can just flourish, even if it's for a few hours, but they take something with them. Something's been, like you said, it's a spark that doesn't go away. So I saw that in AFROGIVENESS, and I think that's what art is about. Right. Art is about all creativity.
Yes, because we tend to think about it as somebody's, if you're told you're going to even get involved, it needs to be your profession. You're going to have to draw something and go find a place to sell it. You see, that's the kind of way, so somebody's an artist. And so you think it is somebody who needs to be, and that is their title. So a person is an artist, that's how they make their money. And we don't think about art as something you yourself can sit down there and get engrossed in. The same way for people who love to read books, you go into that world and you are in it. And to people who love music, you're singing there, and no matter how sad you are and how unhappy your life may be, in that moment, you're in a little different world of your own. That is the therapy right there that I'm talking about, to give these children that opportunity. You know about how they go to school. Some kids barely have a pencil, barely have a pen to use to go to school, and how much more to sit down now and be able to to draw, do something other than to use a pencil, other than to write an exam. To do. So you're opening up people's, and for every child that you do that for, that is just wonderful. It's a blessing for them. And those things, as you said, they are the age now where they're impressionable, where they, even if they don't grow up to be an artist, like you have qualifications in that, but they still know that they can go to that place, the older ones, and they can, that is a way of expression. It doesn't have to be to measure up to the Louvre standards of that you see in the Louvre before you sit and do something that is just expressing yourself. So I really want to applaud you for that. And then go on back to that, the rest of the students that are in Sika. I think I even got a few of the interviews, but let's just go through that album real quick. So this is the brilliant young man that I can see talent in him. This is you now, I believe. Maybe we can listen. Am I sharing my screen? Julie, can you see? Am I sharing?
Sorry, I thought you were asking. Yes, I can see very well. Yeah.
Okay, let me see whether we can actually hear what it is that you were saying to them. Let's see. I'll turn the volume up.
Sometimes you need to sharpen it, okay? Now me, when I'm at home, okay?
The sound is a bit distorted.
Muffled. Yes, and that is the highest I have right there. I guess
I'll be happy to explain what was happening.
what was going on there. Let me even just mute the thing and mute it, and then no, you go ahead and just say what was going on here.
So I was in Seika for 3 days, and this was my final day there, and we had finished the workshop session. So I turned it into a question and answer.
Okay.
So basically the girls have been asking questions, and one girl asked me, how do you smudge? How do you get the shading effect? So I just explained to her. I drew a little like an orange, and I showed her, and the girls asked some other questions. And again, these girls were just very, they just took it in.
Look at the smile on this one's face. Just look at that.
And you know, even the video, I didn't know that it was the refectory prefect. I didn't realize she was filming me. She just picked up my phone and started filming.
Look at that. This is awesome. The smile on this one, you see, I don't know what exactly what Sika is like these days, but she's not thinking about her geography exam, thinking about the bucket of water she needs to go carry from Likomba, thinking about all of that. For now, it is about this right there. It's such a smile of satisfaction on her face. And look at this one, the concentration.
Yeah.
They're not posing for the camera. They're busy doing what it is that they want to do. They're really involved in it. And then this one's, did you talk about the fact that they had done this before? This is prior work that they'd done before?
They showed it to me. This is what they sketched privately, and so they came to me and they showed me, this is what I do in my, like in their spare time. Right. This was the refectory prefect, and even the senior prefect is a bit of an artist, and it was the older girls, the sixth formers, who were sharing their work with me, not the little girls, the older girls.
Wow,
it's amazing. And so I'm so glad that I got all the years, not just the first years, because and also, if I may say, at the end of each session, I told these girls, it's not just about chemistry, physics, or maths. Art is none of those things. You need art. Art is fun. And anytime you feel stressed, my parting words to them were, if you feel stressed, draw a picture, do some artwork. You've got lots of exams coming up. Do some work to de-stress.
Right. Because that is a message which some of us never took. For us, we thought anything you did that wasn't the studying itself. Oh my goodness, terrible thing. Oh, yes, you should sit down there. I mean, go sit down in a bucket in the annex, as it called, studying what we used to call it. I mean, and we don't understand how come you're even more stressed. And so you think that is art like this or listen to music is a waste of time. It's not, you're not applying yourself. Whereas it's something which you need to do to decompress. And then when you go back to study, your mind is better able to absorb what it is that it's supposed to absorb. But I'm glad that you're doing this to show the mind shift. We just, a lot of it is in the way we have been raised, the way our culture, what we think is serious, it's supposed to be serious, and what is supposed to be leisure. And sometimes leisure is just painted as a waste of time. That's a way to make sure that you're not going to ever become anybody in life. That was the way to look at it. Serious, do your school, read your books, and all of this stuff. People who are not serious, who are not going to make anything out of their lives, which we know is so not the case. The reverse is true. Even if you don't make a career out of it, it's something which you do that actually takes the stress off, that lightens the load, and makes you better able to do whatever it is that you need to do, which you're considering your livelihood, things like that. So I'm really, really happy that this thing, three full days. So you went back, this was what I think, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or was it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Oh, it ended up being Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday because,
Friday.
as you know, on Monday you have ghost town, so there's no transportation.
Right.
So I traveled to Limbe on Tuesday, and I had my first day on Wednesday, and I actually saw the principal. No, I saw the vice principal on Tuesday, and it was amazing. She'd never met me before, and they were doing exams that week, and they still let me come.
Oh, that is something. I'm so glad. I will go back to Mr. Shumsi, the principal, and say thank you for doing that, because I know how that feels, and that tells me a lot. It confirms what you just said, that the mind shift has happened. I can imagine in our day that I don't know. No, the kids need to study and that kind of a thing. But I wish we had ways of doing statistics to find out how these girls performed on those tests that they went and took later on in the exam week. Because for all you know, they probably even did better than they would have had they not had this time to just forget and come and do this and then go back later on now to their studies. So do you have plans to go back anytime soon?
Well, in my mind, I tell myself, if I don't go back this year, it's all about, if I don't go back this year, I'd like to go back next year. I see the necessity to go back within a 12-month time frame. And right now, I just feel like there is a mobility and a movement within me to do art in some form or another for children, whether I'm here in Swansea or anywhere else. I need to get moving and see what I can do, because it's a wonderful, I don't know, I just feel like it's wonderful just to have a sense of flourishing. And with the way the world is, people need art more than ever. Look what's happening in Ukraine.
You turn on your TV and that's what you see. And then there was
in Yemen, in other places, all over the world.
All over the world. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of, even, and in the schools, like you talked about, about bullying. Oh, there's lots of cases of people that when morning comes and it's time to go to school, the kids don't want to go. There's somebody that's making life difficult for them there. So there's a lot that comes at them from all kinds of places. There's a lot, and they need an outlet. They need an outlet. As Franka was saying, for some it's music, for some it's poetry, for some it's drama, for some it's something. It's one of those things that actually help you express what you have on the inside, and sometimes what you have bottled up in you, as opposed to letting that now fester, number one, or then manifesting it in very unhealthy ways, as opposed to this way this option that you have given them. So I'm so glad that you took the time to come and just tell us about it. I'm excited for you. And so you split the time between your actual job, your job, and then this, or are you going to take on this full time?
I'd like to take this on full time because I started the website just late last year, and it was completed properly in January of this year. So I see this as my full-time career, and Light Streams is my website. Light Streams,
I had it pulled up a bit ago. Let me see if I can still have it there. I'm going to come and try to share it. I just looked at it. See it. When I saw that, let me find it. But I saw it. You said you gave me the link, and I just went to search and find it, and it's just bright and happy. I just said, and a smile just comes on your face. This is, look at the colors there. Am I sharing it?
Yes, yes, you are.
You look at this and there's no way to not smile. Just like, oh, wow. That's the, it's just bright.
But that's the whole point. It's got to be an antidote to what's dark and gloomy and dreary.
Correct.
You show the strongest counterpole to all that's going on in the world today.
That's right. This is the home page there. It's so that's just to say it again. It's called Light Streams, Light L-I-G-H-T streams, like a stream that's flowing, streams with an S. Go look at it, because I can see it says book a session. It says, I'm talking about the programs, about the method that they use, the children's workshop, the gallery, which is where you see all of these pictures that I was sharing a minute ago. And then there's a button there for contact. So to go ahead and contact. So if you're somebody who's been listening to us talk and you're already into art, so now you know where you can go to see, learn more. And if you're somebody who's thinking, this has got got you thinking, and you'd like that for your own children or your nephews or nieces and things like that. Also sponsorships, why not? Just contact her and let her know if that's something that you'd be willing to do. There's the AFROGIVENESS person who was on here too. Just if this has spoken to you, if this has ignited something in you too, either from you yourself go do it or help people who are doing that, that would be who are promoting programs like this. It would be a great thing. Nothing would make me happier than to have people pull together and make this work in different ways. Sponsorships, sometimes just encouragement, sometimes actually just sending people to join the programs so that we can do whatever it is we can to make this world of ours a little bit, a tiny bit just better, livable, happier, lighter than what we see. Because if you do that, I'm here, I hardly watch TV anymore. It's just depressing. It is depressing. I just take the time to just go, not look at that all the time. And if we can provide something like that for our children, especially, you've heard Julie mention children, because that's where they're still impressionable. And they're the ones who also, sometimes, I don't know whether you've seen that, Julie, may not know how to manage that stress. They may not even quite understand it. They're not adult enough to really even say, okay, things will get better, the way some of us have been lived longer and say, okay, I too was in Form 3 and things were not so good. Look at me now, things have gotten better. Some of them who are young and have just a few years experience may tend to think, this is it. This is how my life is going to be from now on. I don't know whether you that is something I just thought about, whether they may need it much more than we do, who have had a longer experience to say things do get better, as opposed to a child who may think, this is it for me. There's nothing, and you have to now come and tell them, go ahead and hope, try, strive to make things better. So what would you like what is the takeaway thing we should have from this? What would you like to see happen? What's, if you had your wish, what would happen?
That the world is a better place, and each child should just be true to themselves. It starts from now. That's all. Just spread the light, spread the joy, spread it.
Spread the light, spread the joy. I like that. That's a wonderful note to conclude on. Spread the light, spread the joy. And if you're going to be gloomy your own self, there's not much joy and light you can spread. So you're going to have to be like, but I on Sundays on Facebook, because my friend's on Facebook, she tends to post flowers, some bright, happy flowers on Sundays. And I look forward to that. I'm going, oh, look at the flowers. It makes a difference. You go and you see all the other things. Somebody's ranting over here. Somebody lost somebody over there. Sometimes it's just what we are wearing. Then you come and you see, and Julie's post is a bunch of happy, bright flowers. And you're like, oh, it makes you pause and smile. So she's not just preaching, she actually walks the talk. She's talking about and spreads the light and spreads the joy. Let's do our best to do like Julie. I know they say, be like Mike or do like whatever it is. We can do like Julie and Franka and try to spread whatever joy and light that we can out there. So
And
thank you.
to
Thank
be
you.
like you as well, and to be like you as well, you're spreading the joy through your humor, through your insights. You know, I've admired you ever since I was 13 years old. Insane.
Oh wow! I told you, you still look 13 now. You still look 13 even now. So we're like going, she 13 while I was. Then how old is she now? You look the same. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. For those who will watch this, and please go on out there and do what she said. Spread the light, spread the joy. Let's hope. Let's keep hoping things will get better, and let's do our own bit to make them a tad brighter, a tad better for somebody else. All right then. Thank you, Julie. I know it's kind of late where you are now, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go. But thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's even later for Franka and the other people that we had here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. May you
welcome.
remain blessed. May the Lord continue to bless you.
Bless you too. And so I will be contacting you. Trust me. I'm going to keep that promise and have you come and talk more about what you do there in AFROGIVENESS. All right then. Take care, Julie.
Thank you, Sister EGBE.
All the best. All the best.
Thank you.